Hi, and welcome to this week's In Focus on Whitewater Community Television's WGTV Channel 11. I'm Eric, Executive Director. Thank you for joining me for this show. First of all, we have a chance to shoot outside in early March. That doesn't happen very much. And then the location where we are, I'm actually honored to be here and spend some time with these two gentlemen who are my guests, and we'll be talking about this park and some of the features of it and some of the monument that is coming Memorial Day weekend to be here. I'm joined by Joe Goebel and Al Bledsoe. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time today.
You're welcome.
First of all, Joe, let's start with you. A little bit of your background and your military service, if you don't mind.
Well, I got involved in this probably around 2000 and been there ever since. I spent a year in Vietnam. I was in the U.S. Army. I was in the maintenance battalion, and kept me pretty busy. But it's been a lot of work. When I got involved in it, the only thing was here was Vietnam Wall. And after we was here, I think the third time, they wanted to make this thing bigger. So we went and talked to some people. And another guy by the name of Bill McFarland and I started this thing down here. He came down here one day to lay it out, and I thought, well, I'll go down because I was this new, see what's going on. Well, come to find out, Bill and I was the only one showed up. So Bill and I, we did all the work here. We had over $1,500 apiece. We did everything but lay the brick. And all the monuments come from Dreyer. He sure helped us out a lot on this. And the ones he couldn't lift, DeLucio did for us. So it just kind of kept growing and growing and growing. And then we went to Huey, and it took me 13 years to locate Huey. And I built a stand for it. And then Howell Military Academy was closing up, and Alan Paul went to school there. And so Alan Paul said one day, he said, would you like to have an M-60 tank? Yeah. So they went up, the guy that put the crane, or the helicopters, that CNC crane, Hal Eaton, Ohio, they put it up. So they got involved with us on this tank. And so he sent some guys up there, and he went up there for at least a couple weekends. Believe it or not, they got that thing started after 25 years.
Wow.
And then the two guns up on top, the hill, were made in England. They were only 13 of them made, and they were made for the U.S. Army. These particular two guns was out on the island by New York City during the Revolutionary War. So it's really, get into this, you get different people come from different things. We had a person from that Rock Island Arsenal from over there in Illinois came over. He was interested in the tank and the guns, and we learned a lot of information from him. And some of the stuff, you get digging into them, and it really does get interesting.
Al, talk a little bit about your military history and what got you involved in working with the park.
Well, I was in the Air Force for 4 years. I was in the same as Joe, kind of a maintenance battalion, but back in those days it was crypto maintenance we worked with, was basically top secret type stuff that was going on. We did all the a lot of the air surveillance in Southeast Asia. That's our squadron was accredited for that. So I had, as most people know, I had the carpet store in Richmond for years, and I always wanted to do something and give back. I first met Joe, and he don't remember, years ago when he built a circular stairway for me in Glen Hills out of metal. And he probably don't remember that, but that's kind of when I first met him. But after I decided that's what I wanted to do, I joined the VFW. After that, it was history. Gene Sizelove and Jim Jordan were the commanders at the time, and then it was just follow the lead. And with this park, Joe and his wife Barb are responsible for all of this stuff that goes on behind the scenes. They do a lot of the planning and stuff. Well, when you're around them and see how intense they work with this stuff, it's like, how could I not want to do that? You know, it's so I got involved in, like I said, in 2010 with the Vietnam Wall. A couple of the guys on there I know, so it's just a good thing for Vietnam guys, and it used to be called also the Wall of Healing, because a lot of men, and you'll see that when that wall hits here, there's a lot of men that are really emotional about that whole thing. And we have 40 guys here from Richmond that were killed in Vietnam, and they are up by the rest of the point up there where the flag's at. And then we sell bricks. If you're in the service, you can buy a brick. I don't know what the going price is for a brick.
Do what?
A brick. How much is a brick now?
60.
$60. You get your name, rank, and time of service and all that printed, and it goes over there with the monuments. It's got all the bricks around it and stuff. So.
And they don't have to be from Wayne County.
No.
We've got them from Tennessee, Georgia. We got them from all over.
How did they hear about that particular program and know that they could have a brick if they're not here?
Somebody maybe here in town, maybe it was relation to them, or
Yeah.
it's hard to say how they did. You know, maybe they visit this area one time, and because I've had a guy several times ask me, he says, "You have to be from Richmond or Wayne County area," and I said, "No, you can get anybody and put a brick in here." My wife got a text from a guy that was, I think his brother was killed in Vietnam, and he was trying to go around all 48 states and find a Veterans Park and put a brick in for his brother. And I forget now, he's had, 23 or something like that bricks already put in. So.
Talk a little bit about some of the various monuments that are here and how their designs were decided, and how it was decided which wars and who would be honored. Like we were talking before we went on the air, that this is one of the few locations that you're aware of that has a monument for women.
Yeah, as far as I know, that is. Now, if it is, I've never heard of it or seen of it, but we're kind of honored, and we get a lot of people down here, especially women, see it, and they really appreciate it there. But see, how this got started was the relatives of the 40 boys that was killed in Vietnam. They started this with a tree and a plaque.
Yeah.
That's how it got started. And then, like I said, it was several years before I got involved. In the time I got involved, they had the Vietnam Wall and stuff. And all the plaques back there, you see the 12 plaques, they used to lay them on the ground. And every winter they had to pick them up and put them away. Well, I said, that's got to be easier than that. So I built them posts back there for them to put in there. They can leave them all year round.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's been a lot of fun. Been a lot of work at times, but in the end, people appreciate it. So.
There are a lot of people who come down, particularly Veterans Day, Memorial Day. This is where those ceremonies are held.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how those are put together and what it means to have this as a place where the community can gather and remember and honor for both of you all.
Well, you'd be surprised though. I run into today a guy that lives not a couple blocks from here, didn't even know this was here.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. You talk to people. I got a friend of ours that goes to the farmer's market and passes out literature and stuff because his daughter's got a booth there. Mm-hmm. And he said, you'd be surprised though, the people that don't know this is here. We had one lady says, I drive by this every day and didn't even know that was here. I mean, now there's two big guns up there and a flag and a big bomb. I mean, my gosh, what else you need to see?
Yeah.
This has grown through the years. You've mentioned the Vietnam Wall a couple of times. Talk about when that has come through and how much of an impetus that coming through was for the growth of this particular area.
We were thinking 2010.
Yeah, I think in 2010
when it
was
first
there.
came through.
We tried to got it every 5 years, but there was a space through there that we didn't get it. There's a lot of these walls are not going anymore because of it's hard to get the Vietnam, because like I said, there's only 20% of us left. And so they just, I think there's maybe 3 of them left, out of maybe 5 or 6.
What's the next visiting wall that you all, or visiting monument that you all have coming in? Actually, this Memorial Day, you all have a plan to have something come in. Can you talk a little bit about that?
The company that's got this wall here is now working on a wall of Afghanistan and Iraq. And it's going to be something based like the Vietnam Wall. So how big it's going to be, we don't have no idea. But it's supposed to be done at the end of this year. And so we've been talking to them like to see if we can't be the first in this area to have it. Trying to get these younger people, let them know, but we appreciate what they went through.
It's the messaging and making sure we get the message out in the community. I think that's probably, we don't do as good a job with that probably as we should.
When you say the messaging in the community, what messaging is that, Al?
We should be on the radio maybe some, on your place some. We should be out there maybe passing out brochures and inviting people to the park. This Memorial Day weekend is going to start on Friday, and it's going to be a 4-day celebration basically. So that needs to be, I don't know quite how to get that message out to more people hear it. So,
talk about what's coming in Memorial Day and this 4-day celebration honoring that you all have coming in.
Well, we'll have the wall coming for sure, and then
is this a Vietnam Wall coming back?
Yes.
Okay.
And we're going to have a tent, right, of different things that are going to be here. It's different businesses actually in Richmond. We're going to have a tent where they can hand out brochures.
Most of them's going to be like American Legions,
Yeah.
Service officers. My wife's got a whole list of things to do. she takes care of all that, so that's off my plate.
Or maybe I should make you give up your chair and let your wife come and sit here.
Yeah, I tried to get her to come, she wouldn't do it.
So that's the messaging I think is just, this year I'm going to hopefully be able to pass out as many brochures as I can around businesses and everything, because like you said, there's a lot of people that don't really realize what we got here, and this is, if not one, it's 2 of the best veterans park in the state. And so I think that we need to shout that out, because Wayne County is a small community, so we need to really publicize that as much as we possibly can.
Another thing too, the wall will come in on Thursday afternoon. It's going to be out here at the truck stop, and the Patriot Riders is going to escort it in. So we're going to need about, 20 guys or better to help put this thing up. Help just carry stuff. I don't know. I can't do much of that anymore, but we need that, and then we'll need them when we tear down on Tuesday. So we're looking for help. It don't have to be a veteran. Anybody wants to help, they're more than willing to come.
Okay. If somebody is interested in helping with the wall coming in, how do they connect with somebody from this organization to say, yes, I want to be able to help?
Well, they could call out there where Al's that works at and get that, or they could call up to the PFW and ask for my wife Barbara, and she can help them out too. So,
Yeah, any of the clubs would know and would be able, don't you think, to give out the information, I think.
Okay. So the wall is coming in. There are additional panels
Yes.
that are coming with it, and those panels are specifically honoring or looking at what?
Iraq, Afghanistan, 9/11, Korea, and World War II. I think that's it. I don't think there's anyone from World War I. But
We'll also be honoring the Gold Star mothers too. That's something we don't want to forget that either.
What's that?
The Gold Star mothers.
Yes.
So there'll be a ceremony specifically for them. The Gold Star mothers are simply mothers that have lost a child in a conflict. I don't know exactly how many we have in Wayne County.
When you go back and look at the wall, you see two boys' names with a cross. That means they've never been found. That was the Kuman boy and the Clutie boy that's never been found. The Kuman boy, I knew him. Me and another fellow used to be farmhands on their farm. And wherever we went, Bobby went. So we kind of considered him as our baby brother. So it would be, and you see, he only has one sister. That's all he's got. There's no brothers. It'd be nice to find his remains and bring them home. But maybe, hopefully someday it'll turn up. But same way with the Clutie boy, I have no idea about where they're at. But
Well, the government says through the DNA process and just the simply of the search, if you will, that they find people every day. There's a website, it's I think POWMIA, you can go to, and it'll tell you all the things that the government's doing to try to find somebody. That's how the guy that we buried not too long ago, his remains was found. He was related to Ron Hill.
that was his uncle.
Yeah, it was his uncle. So, and he was found through DNA. And we ended up and buried him here because that's what they wanted to do. And he was a young man. He was killed the first day, you might say, of World War II. So
He was buried in a cemetery in Michigan. That was one big cemetery. They had a funeral about every half hour. It was full military funeral. It was quite a scene. So, unfortunately, we went up because Ron and I are pretty good friends. And
You've talked about how this area has grown. Talk about, if you would, how this area is kept up, because, and you mentioned you're not able to do as much as you were able to do years ago. Talk about the upkeep of this area and how that has all taken place.
okay, the park department takes mowing the grass, and Denise has done a wonderful job with this. The shrubbery and stuff is done by the girls and the guys out the greenhouse. They've done it all. But I think the biggest access to this this place here was when that wall trail was finished. That, you can't believe how many people really have come in. And if you go up there and sit in that swing and overlook this area, it's really sharp.
yeah, you can see everything. I mean, it's amazing that when we have a car show here every year, and it's amazing that you can stand up there and see the whole thing. It's truly amazing to see all the people and the cars, and it's just really, I got some pictures of it. It's really quite a sight.
Do you know when the car show is going to be this year?
Somewhere in August.
August. That's usually when it is. Usually we have, one year we had, I think, a high of 130. Is that right?
Have something like
Yeah,
that.
last year we just had 115 or
Cars?
120. Yeah, cars, and they come from all over the place. And what they're doing is they're competing for a trophy. That's just a hunt. You know, if you're into that car business, you can see some real different looking cars out here now, some older ones.
Is the car show designed as a fundraiser? Because obviously bringing in
That car
the
show
wall,
is, yes.
Memorial Day weekend, things of that nature, all of that costs money.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
Well,
somehow we do it. This thing with the wall coming in, we just had a meeting about it last week. This is really expensive, and to ask for donations, I think sometimes we're a little timid about asking for money. But it takes real money to make it happen, and that's just a fact of life. And so this year, as we have this wall, we'll be actually trying to raise funds for the next year or for the next event, which generally Barb is involved in, his wife, and she'll plan the event, and then we all try to gather, if you will, to see it out. So
You've got
it's quite something, yeah.
a lot of different monuments that have come in through the years. We've been able to document some of them.
Right.
Do you have in your mind what you think you would like to see next? Have there been any conversations, or is this it? Can you all say that you're done?
well, I hope so, but
I don't think you can ever say you're done. Maybe slow down, but
you never know
done.
what goes on down here and what we can do. Like I said, when we got designing these monuments, what era we were trying to design, like World War II, we got people that was from World War II that helped us design what they would like to see on that monument.
Right.
And same way of Korea. And we went on around, and every place we went, like the Desert Storm in Iraq, we had guys there that told us what they'd like to see. And then we cash around and try to find out what it was. It was quite a project doing that. We'd have all kinds of papers down there of different designs and stuff. And like I say, we have to build another monument, but I guess you never know, do you?
There's a couple of places you could put one, but it couldn't be very big. Seton High School, am I right? The first monument when you come in, didn't they donate that? The people at Seton.
You mean it's got the name of a
Yeah, it's right up. The first monument when you come
that
in.
one's got got all the battalions in them?
Yeah.
Okay, that one there, a guy ordered all these plaques. They were Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard, and Merchant Marines. And they were supposed to go somewhere else, and the guy never came and got them. And A+ Sign called me one day and asked me if I'd come out there a minute, so I went out there. They showed me these plaques and stuff. And they said, if you would promise me you would put these down at the park, we would donate them to you.
And you did.
So we did.
And they did.
Yeah.
So we did. That monument alone was $10,000.
Yeah, there's a lot of monuments here that are really, really expensive, the way they're made.
You're watching In Focus on Whitewater Community Television's WGTV Channel 11. We're in Veterans Memorial Park, a beautiful place. If you have not had a chance to come down and visit, we do invite you to come down and take a look around. The ladies and gentlemen who have worked on this through the years have done an absolutely fabulous job. It has grown through the years, through the work of the veterans and their family and people who honor them. We're speaking with Joe Goebel and Al Bledsoe. You said that this area came to the veterans for very little money, but now it's back in control of the city. Is that correct?
Yes, you know, like I said, see, this all used to be the light plant years ago.
Part of Richmond Power and Light?
Yes, and when they built the new one, how they come about getting this, I really don't know, but this is where it first came. When I first started coming down and see it, you used to have to drive through a gate, and it used to be just drive on the grass. Well, over the years, we got the street department that helped us and stuff, and they paved all this and stuff like that. And it just, little things like that just kept growing. Mm-hmm. And then when that wall come through there, that's how that bathroom got built. The only thing bad about that, we have to keep it locked.
Okay.
Because if you don't, they'll tear them up. And right now, they probably won't turn the water on until maybe 1st of April. So the water is off. Mm-hmm. But That's why a lot of times when they get special groups, like church groups come down, they always invite me because I got the magic key.
Well, this is a beautiful place when it's really the green, when the grass is green down and the flowers are up and the flags are flying. It's a beautiful place. It's so good to just come down and just sit.
When we have some kind of event going on, you see pipe stuck in the ground there, all the way down there through there. We put flags, American flags, all the way down this walkway.
Right.
That is a sight to see. That really is. But we like to leave them up. But if you did, they'd take them. So unfortunately, we have to pick them up. So
Talk a little bit about, if you would, the camaraderie that comes with being a veteran. I know that Al, you host Proudly We Served on our education access station, WETV. You and Ron Chappelle, a show that airs Monday night. You all have had a chance to bring in veterans, talk about their history. Talk about what that's like when you all gather.
I think, from my standpoint, I'm the head of VVA, which is a counterpart to the Veterans Memorial Committee, but Joe usually runs the meeting of the Memorial Park Committee, and it's just, I think there's a lot of respect there. I mean, once in a while there's an argument about something, but not too often. Usually those kind of things are kind of hammered out, and with Barb working on the detail of everything that goes on, he's got all of that information in front of him. So he knows, but we have fair discussions. I mean, like anything, I mean, we don't necessarily agree on everything, but, and VVA is more of a support, Vietnam Veterans is more of a support to the Parks Committee. We're actually two different things, but we meet the same day. They meet just right after we meet. So, but it's just a good organization. And the problem is, and like Joe brought into not to his first conversation, is getting younger ones involved.
Younger veterans.
That's what we have to have, younger veterans. And no matter how hard you try, it's hard to do that. It's hard to get guys that will, I've had young guys tell me, yeah, they'll do that, but then they don't do that. It's more work, and it's the kind of work that it's self-serving. I mean, if you do it, you feel like you've done something, you feel good about it. It's not, if you're looking for money, you come to the wrong place.
Well, we got a younger fellow right now that's doing most of this with the wall. He's good help. Every now and then you got to reel him in because he gets carried away a little bit. But outside of that, there's about 4 young fellows coming in.
Yeah.
And you can count on them.
Yeah.
You can count on them.
There's some guys at Ivy Tech, a couple of guys out there that have committed. Sometimes it quits. Sometimes when you get involved in things like this, you're doing it for your own satisfaction, but you're doing it because you're proud of what happened. And I don't think there's a Vietnam vet that I know of that's not proud of what he did when he served. And that's, because the scorn and all the uprising and stuff when guys come home, it's not like it is now. And so I think most of the vets they're pretty good.
When I talk to a group of people, first I'll ask, is there any veteran in the group? And every now and then you have somebody hold their hand up. And I said, this is your park. All we do is control what goes on in there. It's not our park, it's your park. So if you're a veteran, this is your park.
You mentioned you come down here a fair amount and find people from various places around the country.
Yeah, we've talked to some interesting people through the time. Like I say, I usually came down early in the morning, and then after I was sick for a while, I spent 3 months in the hospital, and after kind of gets a little bit later for me to come down now, but we still run into people that you get talking to them, asking if they've been here before. No, how'd you find out about that? Well, we stopped at the tourist bureau out there, and they told us about the park. and stuff or anything. And we spent a lot of time down here talking to different people, interesting people. You know, it's fun. I run into a young girl, and she had 2 elderly people with them. They were from England.
They were from England?
Yeah, that's where the 2 older people were from England. She lived here in town, but she brought them here, but they were from England. So, and you know, it makes you feel proud as you do that, you know. You know, just like now, you see these cars going in and out. You see this every day. You can sit down here, and it's amazing. It's also amazing how many people just come down, turn around, and go out.
Yeah.
It's really something. It's hard to explain, you know, how you feel about everything. And one thing you didn't ask about, there are these projectiles we got around here, these shells right there.
Mm-hmm.
We got, what, 13 of them?
Yeah.
They weigh about 2,000 pounds apiece.
The shells?
They came from Crane Naval Base.
So you mentioned the tank came from Howell. Alan Paul was able to help you with that. The Huey came from where?
I run into a guy, we found another Huey in Florida, and we put a deposit down on it that's never been out of the country. And I was down, I think it was in Memphis, somewhere along there, and we got a phone call. This guy says, "I hear you looking for a Huey." I was crying out loud, 13 years and they're coming out of the woodwork. He said, "We'd like to keep this bird in Indiana." So we said, "Well, where's it at?" And they says, "In Fishers, Metropolitan Airport in Fishers, Indiana." I was, man, right in our backyard.
Yeah.
And so we said, "Can we come look at it?" I said, "Sure." So we went over and looked at it. And we asked him what he wanted it for, and he told us. So the deal with us down in Florida, if we couldn't get all the money, because they wanted it to $52,000 for that bird. If we couldn't get all the money, he would send back all of it, but what it cost to transfer the money up here. So we got that money back and put a deposit on this and here. And so I said, well, at least it won't cost us no $2,500 to have it shipped over. And he says, "I'll tell you what I'll do for another $10,000. I'll come over, deliver it, and help you put it up." So we got, that bird cost us $38,000.
Wow. Okay. What about the airplane?
The airplane, it's still owned by the Navy. It was the one that set out the airport. Mike Nocton is the one that flew that airplane in Vietnam. And it's been out there since, what, 1990? Mm-hmm. And they decided to bring it down here. So, like I said, the guy that helped us get the tank and set the Huey, he also got involved in this. He's something else. Yeah. So we went out there and we got the wings folded up, and we got permission to pull it. We pulled it from the airport down here. And right now we got a bid on painting it. It needs to be painted. But some ways I kind of like it, look at the way it is, because it looks like it's been in combat, you know what I mean? But it still belongs to the Navy. If they want it, they can come get it. Same way with the big tank. Something belong. The two stewards up there, they belong to the Army.
Yeah.
Okay. Al, you were going to say something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Joe wouldn't say anything about this, but the pedestal that the Huey's on, it's on a metal, if you will, metal shaft.
Right.
Well, Joe won't say much about that, but he built that metal shaft. And to somebody that knows, when they come down the hill, and that's the first thing I saw when I come down the hill when this thing was put up. When you come down that hill and come down, that Huey looks like it's banking, getting ready to come in. And it's so real to you that you think, holy cow, did he plan that or did it just happen? I don't think he really knows. But the thing of it is with somebody that can build something like that and put that helicopter on it. And of course, it's a model piece in this barge, so.
You know, it's made to look like it's banked. That's how I made it.
Did a good job. And for people that know or have been there, they know that is banking. And that chopper sound that it makes is just unique to a Huey. So.
Remind us again about the monument that is coming in for Memorial Day.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that one more time, dates, times, if you need some help, if someone wants to be able to reach out to you all. Talk about that real quickly, if you would.
Okay, that comes in on a Thursday. That's May 23rd. And it'll be here towards around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And like I said, the Patriot Riders is going to bring it in. Then I suppose they'll help, but we could use all the help we can get. And then it'll be open on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and it tears down on Tuesday.
And this is Memorial Day weekend.
Yes, so we need some help to help tear it down too, so they can be on their way. These people are really great to work with. We asked them about this, about that, and they said, hey, this is your show, you do what you want to. Well, wall we had before, they kind of told you what they wanted.
Yeah.
So, like this guy says, this is your show, you do what you want. But we try to do everything that we going to do. We're going to fly in a helicopter, and we're going to have to land it over there on the Jeanette side because of the power lines they put up, and since we put the A6 there, we don't have room for it. The guy that was the guy that has this. He has several helicopters. He's in that search and rescue outfit over at Indianapolis. It's Charlie Walker's his name. He came over and he said the only way he could come in is from the south. Well, they got power lines up there. And he says, if I fly under it, they find out about it, they can make it really rough on you. So he said, yeah, one land and maybe one load, you could get out okay. Or I can combat you. I've seen helicopters land places I didn't think they'd ever land. They get the guys up and they're gone. They don't go up and down all day long.
Right.
So we're trying to get somebody to sponsor it. He's going to fly it in and land it over here, just be on display, static display. And this guy there, he's a great guy to work for. You know, it's he calls all the time, want to know how we're getting along, and he said, I'll bird-proof that. And I said, well, how in the world do you bird-proof an airplane? He seagulls every little crack in there. And I asked him, I said, Charlie, what do you do for a living? He was a custom jewelry maker. So he's used to
very fine work.
But you would never know it, that he's that way. Just a super guy. It just seemed like everybody we've met down here, it's kind of turned out to be friends and super great people.
Yeah.
The wall is coming in Memorial Day weekend. It is the wall honoring Vietnam veterans, but there's some additional honoring that is going on. Talk a little bit about that.
Like panels and stuff like that.
Yep, some additional panels, thank you. And those are for, again?
Iraq, Afghanistan, 9/11, Korea, and World War II. I think that's all that's involved in it.
And we'll also have a tent of different parts of the veteran community that'll be handing out brochures. The Legion, the VFW. I'm sure that probably Dayton VA will get some kind of literature to hand out or something. There'll be a tent, won't there, Joe?
Yeah.
It's a huge tent.
Well, 18 by 25.
Yeah, and then inside that tent will be just tables set up. And then if people, as they come in, they can go through there and we'll have literature to give away. We'll have a donation bucket if they want to donate. It'll be a good time. I don't know how many vendors we got. I haven't heard that yet.
And that's, go back to my wife, that's her job.
And the Memorial Day ceremony will still be here.
Yes.
Memorial Day, 11 a.m.?
11 o'clock, right. We're going to be at Earlham earlier at 9 o'clock. I believe that's right.
Yeah.
9 o'clock will be at Earlham for a ceremony, and then we will all come over here. Wayne County Honor Guard is the closing out of this ceremony. That'll be the last thing done, basically. So I don't know yet. We don't know yet who's going to be our guest speaker. Usually you can find somebody that can talk for 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay. Want to invite the community down to obviously see the memorial. There's no, is there a charge for them to come see the memorial? No charge to come through the memorial. Any of the additional panels. Obviously the community is invited for the Memorial Day ceremony that's happening at 11 o'clock that morning. Gentlemen, obviously I appreciate the time that you all have spent with me today.
Just remember, anybody want to donate?
Yeah.
It's Wayne County Veterans Memorial Park, P.O. Box 2401, and we would appreciate it.
All right, there you go. You heard it. Thanks for watching In Focus on Whitewater Community Television, WGTV Channel 11. We've been able to get some video through the years of some of the memorials going up and some of the changes that have taken place in the park, and we'll show you a little bit of that.
I don't think we could have survived on the DMZ without it. They were very instrumental. Where I was at, there was no military bases north of us. Between us and North Vietnam, we was in. At the time, there was no Army units up there, so we was attached to the 3rd Marine Division.
This was our main baby here. This thing, if you heard the Huey coming, you was either getting food supplies, ammunition supplies, medical support, gunfire support. You were getting something good. You heard that Huey, so it made you excited, you know, to see those guys coming over the horizon over there in the jungle, you know, it was kind of exciting. So I wanted to be here today for this. I know for a lot of the guys, it's going to bring back some memories. Some of them are going to be kind of painful, but at the same time, you know, kind of a paradox. You're going to, you know, enjoy the fact of being able to see it. I think it will help solidify us because we all have something in common. You know what I'm saying? We all, for Vietnam especially, acknowledge that as that was it for us. And so it kind of helps us to kind of come together and kind of, you know, just kind of bond, I think. I think it's a bonding thing. You know, I mean, you look at the folks that are here today, we're not selling any food, we're not giving out food, anything like that. Just mounting this Huey. And folks are coming out, family members are coming out, community members are coming out, you know, to see this thing. And I think it's great. And I think it helps for the community too, because when they see this and they realize, you know, this was a part of our military experience, I don't think people really got the idea, grasped the concept of guys and gals flying around in the jungle, you know, on what? You know? But that was it. That was the baby, you know, so.
I'm happy to have with me Gary Franklin. Gary, thank you for taking some time and talking with me.
Well, it's my pleasure. Obviously, this is a great day for the park. We've had a lot of great days, but this is a great day again. And we think back, I've been trying to get a Huey in here for almost 20 years, and today is going to be the culmination of that dream. I remember when we first started out with just the Vietnam Memorial, and we had a hard time getting veterans in the community to support the park because all the old veterans, World War II guys at that time, thought this was just a Vietnam park, and they could not envision what we wanted to do here in the park. So we come up with the idea that if we wanted to get all veterans on board with this as a veterans park and not a Vietnam park, then we had to do something. So we decided at that point that we were going to put in 3 memorials at once, which was the World War I, World War II, and Korea. And we had to raise a lot of money to do that. We got good support from the community. We got great support from the local VFW post, 1108 here. They contributed about $20,000 for it. And we got those memorials in. Once we did that, then everybody could see a little bit more about what our vision was. So obviously after that, we decided to continue on with a memorial for all the conflicts that we were in. Then we decided we're going to continue on again, and we did the monument for Iraq, Afghanistan. And we thought, well, we don't have anything for women here. So we decided that we needed to get a women's memorial in. So I talked to Sandy Weedig at the VFW Auxiliary and asked her if she would like to take on that project, and she said sure. So she took on the project, they raised the money for it, and at the same time we decided that we would put the Purple Heart Memorial in at the same time in order to balance out the park a little bit. So we did that. And then we decided that, well, all of these are basically war memorials, and we've honored all the people who served in those various wars. But we had a whole bunch of veterans who just didn't happen to be in at the time that the war was going on. So we decided we would put the Peacekeeper Memorial in, which is up as you come in the park. And that honors all veterans who served in the military in times that were not a war.
Time with the Palladium item, obviously you wrote stories and saw a lot happen down in this area. Talk about what your thoughts were as this park developed through the years.
Well, I've always been amazed by what's been accomplished and the work of this veterans community and their friends and the other supporters, which includes a lot of local businesses, and city government's been a huge supporter of this project. But it's always amazing to me to come down and see one monument, and then there's 3 more, and then there's 3 more after that, and the Huey today is just a perfect example of how these things are happening. And it's totally grassroots effort, and I give all these people all the credit in the world. I actually was here when the park started. Barbara Gray came into my office and talked me into coming out here, and they were planting a tree, and they were making plans for the Vietnam monument, and it's just been interesting to follow all the way through.
As you heard the plans develop, did you really think it would be what it has become?
Never. No. I never thought I'd see it in my lifetime. I know how these things work, having covered government forever. Mm-hmm. And my guess is if government was doing it, it would take 3 times as long. But these guys just come out and work, the men and women, and they do all these things, build things, and pull weeds, and then come in for the services here. So it's really a full circle kind of thing. And it's just amazing to see, because I watched people come in with monuments and get help on all the projects they've done. City of Richmond was always a huge help. Sally Hutton and Bill Smith, our former street commissioner. Yeah. So it's been really kind of inspiring to see this happen.
You're wearing the Bring Our Huey Home shirt.
Yeah.
This is really your era. Talk about your thoughts when you see this helicopter going on.
I have to admit, it didn't even occur to me that I was coming here today to see the Huey until I got up close, and then there it was. And it's really unique, because I flew in helicopters part of the time. I was a courier at the end, and I would do troop strengths, and I would take them up to headquarters, and I would just go down and jump in a Huey. But to see this here it's pretty exciting, and I've ridden in it a couple of times when the wall has been here, and to hear that sound, it really brings back memories.
Thanks for your time. Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Appreciate you being here.
Appreciate you. Thanks, Eric.
My name is Ron Hill. I'm with the Veterans Memorial Park. I'm on the committee down there for the park. There's a bunch of us working to bring new ideas and new military equipment and monuments and stuff to the Veterans Park. This tank comes from Howe Military Academy in northern Indiana.
This used to be for training purposes only. This is a M-60 3A. It's the last version of the patent tanks.
It was made in Detroit. So this one went to Howe Military Academy. A lieutenant colonel drove it off the truck, put it on the pad, got out, and handed the keys to the vehicle to the Howe Military University. It's been sitting there since, I believe, 1998. And Howe Military is going to close.
So basically, we received a call from the military saying that there was an option to be able to transfer a lease over for some military equipment. They obviously thought about Veterans Park.
Mike, the one that set the Huey for us, got him involved in it, and him and a couple elderly gentlemen that works for him, mechanics, went up there, and believe it or not, they got that thing running after 20 years. And Howe Military Academy closed down, and it wasn't for maybe Senator Alan Paul, we might not got all these things.
I was involved, I served on the board at Howe Military School for 10, 15 years, and I was very aware of this tank. Used to be out there, and we used to have it painted. A lot of the classes took pictures and so on with it. But as the school closed, there was no discussion on where that tank would go. They called me and they said, we're going to send that tank down to Richmond.
Micah, who's in charge of it, his company is the one that's bringing it down today and in charge of it. He will drive it off the flatbed and drive it down into the park and put it on the pad, and he will hand the keys over to us. And that's where it'll sit for a long time. Okay, there's been a change in the plans here. It was going to be let off up here at the top of the hill and drive down under its own power to the pad. but it doesn't have as much fuel in it as what they did when they left, so they don't know what happened. But they're going to back the whole truck down to the pad and take the tank off of the truck from that point down there. Went fine. There's always a glitch here and there on anything you want to do in life, so, but it was overcome, and they got it off and it's on, and when they fired that thing up, it was just fantastic. It's the first time I'd heard it run.
I served in the legislature for 28 years, and we were able to start this with monies from the state of Indiana. And at the time, I think we put about 100,000 down here. And I just was so excited, hoping that we would get this thing off the ground. And you look at it now, it's got to be one of the best parks in the state of Indiana.
We're constantly adding to the park to improve it and make it better. And we're always open for ideas. Anybody wants to give us anything or come up with these ideas. All of us are getting pretty old, and we need the younger blood to get in here and help us continue this on. So the park does keep going. We're very proud of that park.
As I leave you, I want to remind you that our In Focus program will become In Focus Candidate Forums as of March 28th, your chance to hear from candidates in contested races. Thanks for watching this week's In Focus. As always, I wish you well.